What do you want in an earbud? Active noise cancellation that actually works, high quality audio on calls, music and gaming, great battery life, maybe a sleek design that kind of measures up to the Apple AirPods. The QCY Melobuds N50 is marketed to be something of that sort. I've had one the last 2 weeks and here are my thoughts on whether it actually fits that bill of being a budget ANC earbud that ticks all the relevant checkboxes. There's a carry case in which you'll find the earbuds themselves, 2 pairs of differently sized ear tips in case the ones that come with the earbuds don't fit your ear, a USB A to C cable for charging, and the manual for the buds. I'll say the Melobuds N50 is a pretty looking earbud, which is an easy conclusion to reach for me considering I got the purple variant. But I've definitely seen better looking earbuds, some even from QCY. It's flashy, the silver finish on the stalk makes this stand out from whichever angle you look at it. And I would say that stalk is sort of big when you picture the overall proportions of this earbud. Maybe it's because I'm used to the sleeker form factor from QCY. Long time ago, I reviewed the T1S and that was all shades of sleek. I'm guessing the bigger stalk and bigger form factor is so they could pack in more technology, or maybe it's just poor design. Build quality is fine though, it's an all plastic build that feels solid in hand. The material is lightly textured, which is important for helping the buds stay in air, but more on that later. My overall impression is that this is durable and will stand the test of time. It certainly has stood the test of the last 2 weeks. No blemishes, scratches or cracks picked so far. Each buds weigh about 4.1 grams. With in-ear earbuds, you want them as light as possible. 4.1 is a good number. You'll appreciate the 4.1 grams weight number when you put these in ear. They exert very little if any pressure. And while the stalk seems to have picked up some weight since I last touched a QCY earbud, the parts that fit into your ear remain as sleek and streamlined as ever. All of that makes the QCY Melobuds N50 nice and comfy in ear. The fit is snug and thanks to the lightly textured build I talked about earlier, these have no problem staying up in your ear, even for extended periods. Matter of fact, I went for a jog with them and aside from 1 or 2 adjustments, they pretty much stay glued to my ear through the workout routine. If the default tips don't work well for you, say you have bigger or smaller ears, then you can easily swap them for the bigger or smaller tips that come included in the pack. The Melobuds N50 is the typical budget TWS earbud in that it comes with active noise cancellation, Bluetooth 5.4, IPX4 rating, multi-point connection, touch controls. The noteworthy omissions here are wireless charging, proximity sensing, and high-res audio support. Particularly high-res audio, which is something you find on the cheaper Melobuds Pro Plus and the cheaper Melobuds Pro, both of which are still from QCY. I would note that the updated Melobuds N50 does ship with LDAC high-res audio. QCY markets this as an earbud that will suppress noises of up to 45 decibels with it in ear. My experience was that this claim was valid. Indoors with people talking or the TV on in the background, this was very good at blocking out the noise. Outdoors on the walk, and it will do a good job of silencing chatter, traffic noise, and maybe some loud street talking. If you had to step into traffic and then get a car's blaring horn aimed right at you, that's passing right through the ANC filter. You can set noise cancelling to either of 3 modes: active noise cancellation, which blocks out all the noise; transparent, which filters heavy noise but allows you to hear what's going on around you for when you are walking in the park; and normal, which just disables everything altogether. Active noise cancelling on its part can be set to either adaptive, which analyzes the noise and automatically sets the best mode, noisy for noisy environments, commuting, indoor, or anti-wind. Bluetooth 5.4 is the most recent Bluetooth version available now, and compared to 5.3 or later, this supports LC3 codec, which is better for audio quality at low bit rates. It has better energy efficiency and better latency as well. I'm guessing the multi-point connection feature is an offshoot of Bluetooth 5.4, but I later learned that it's actually available on Bluetooth 5.3 too. But what multi-point connection does is allow you pair earbuds to 2 devices simultaneously. so you don't need to disconnect from one device to connect to another, and that's a neat touch if you use two phones like me. IPX4 on the Melobuds N50 means this can only handle water splashes and maybe sweat. You can't take a dive with it in the pool or use it in heavy rain. Maybe in light showers, but don't call me if it doesn't turn on after that. It could have been better. Some TWS buds at this price point come with an IPX8 rating or better, but IPX4 is what you'd expect from a sub $30 TWS earbud with a feature set that is comparable to what the N50 is offering out of the box. The 12mm diaphragm on the Melobuds N50 and its dynamic driver delivered a very balanced soundstage. Its reach feels very detailed, and I was really impressed by how full the soundstage came out to be, the pure surround sound and the overall clarity. This picked up and delivered a lot of ad-libs I never even knew existed on my favorite songs, and I love my ad-libs. Bars was deep and punchy. I like to think of it as being expressive but still controlled. So it didn't upstage the other frequencies, which is something you see more often than not in budget TWS earbuds. Mids were clear and precise, probably not as punchy as or pure as the bars, but that's not something to expect from a sub $30 TWS earbud. It's still right on the money. Listening to Timeless by The Weeknd was thoroughly refreshing, and if you know that song, you know what makes it sensational stuff is the very generous synth infusion on every layer of the song. I feel trebles could be a little bit crisper. While it's crisp enough to reveal enough detail, at higher listening volumes you can sense some roughness around the edges. When the volume is high enough, you can certainly feel it being suppressed to the extent that it sounds a bit mushy. I think these were intentionally tuned to tone down the trebles and accentuate the bars and mids. More of the mids actually, and in a way it works to fit the overall sound profile of the Melobuds N50. It's deep, it's detailed and punchy. All that said, what I really liked about the Melobuds N50 was the surround sound. This was legit talking to me from the back of my head. The listening experience with the right songs, again Timeless by The Weeknd if you're looking for a recommendation, is truly fantastic. You feel the music coming from around you, and every now and again there's an ad-lib, snare drum or piano cutout hitting you from the back or front of the soundstage. QCY claims this ships with 6 microphones, and when I saw that I was like, that's a lot. I counted and I could only spot 5. Anyways, the 5 microphones I found definitely do their job very well. This handles calls like a champ. The whole clear crisp sound quality I described earlier lends itself to calls as well. So on the phone call, you're getting crisp and as detailed as can be sound into your ears. Conversely, the 5 mics capture enough detail in your speech with enough clarity to deliver a good enough in-call sound to your receiver. For TWS earbuds, the one issue in my face when using them for gaming or media playback, say watching a YouTube video, is latency. And latency is basically how long the difference is between seeing sound that are produced and actually hearing them in your earbuds. The Melobuds doesn't have too much of latency. When gaming, it was in very good sync. Watching movies, whatever the source, internet, YouTube or local content, it was very well aligned as well. You'd expect a budget TWS earbud like this to usually push past 6 hours of active listening time. And that's exactly what I got in my hands-on experience. 6 bordering on 7 hours of active listening time. If your ANC is active, that drops listening time by about 2 hours, which is again pretty much normal for a budget TWS earbud. On standby, this can go north of 48 hours. The carry case houses an extra 380 mAh battery that can charge the earbuds through about 4 0 to 100 cycles before requiring a charge itself. QCY says you can get 2 hours of playtime from just 10 minutes of charging, and I found that to be essentially true. Like I mentioned earlier, no wireless charging support here. The carry case comes with a USB-C port and there's an A to C cable included in the pack for charging. Why A to C though? At this point, I feel like these manufacturers are just dumping their old stock on us because I can't remember when last I saw a new charging brick with an A outlet. QCY are big boys now, so you get a fully fledged Android wireless app to go with your cheap earbuds. It's very well thought out though. You get a status tab that provides an overview of the bud's current state, sound tab where you can customize the EQ, noise cancellation mode, and sound left and right balance. There's settings tab to provide even more granular control. You can configure the touch inputs and then map them to your preferred action. Find your earbuds if they get missing. You can also enable sleep mode or gaming mode and perform software updates. My one and only problem is the app requires you to create an account before you can use it. As I always say, I don't know why QCY needs to have my email address before I can set the EQ on my cheap Chinese earbuds. Honestly, even though this is a well-built and solid earbud, I just get the more recent Melobuds N50 or even the N60. Those come with support for high-res audio, and I personally prefer the looks compared to the N50. If you want to save $10 and maybe you don't need high-res audio support, then yeah, you can consider the Melobuds N50. They do pretty much everything right. The sound quality is immersive, battery life is very good, superb touch controls, and great active noise cancellation. I feel like if they looked how I love my TWS earbuds to look, I'll probably ignore the lack of high-res audio support and I'll try to recommend them over the newer models, but they don't. So if you don't mind spending the extra $10 to $15, just get those instead.